Are the Disney water parks worth it? Should I get another Disney water parks and more pass next year? The annual pass renewal is coming around for me this year, and I'm thinking about what kind of pass I want to get. And one big question on my mind is, am I going to renew my water parks fun and more component of my Disney annual pass? So let me think about it, and let's talk about it here today. Hey everyone, Dave K here today, thinking about if the water parks and more make sense for my annual pass for next year. As you may already know, I have a gold level annual pass to Walt Disney World in addition to an annual pass to Universal Studios, and maybe even thinking about more annual passes next year. We'll see, or less. You never know what the future will look like. Maybe we'll make videos talking about those as well. But I want to consider the future of the water parks fun and more. And if I want to go ahead and renew the water parks fun and more component of my Disney World annual pass next year. I can see a lot of pros and cons to renewing the water parks fun and more. One thing is, so often I find myself at Disney and there's a lot of nice features of Disney that I can appreciate. So if I'm looking for water parks, and I do enjoy water parks, by the way, so if I'm looking for a water park, Disney is quite accessible. They have a variety of different parks for one to enjoy, and so that does make me think, okay, there's one benefit to the Disney World Water Parks Fun and More Pass, but I'm actually not sure that the pass makes sense for me for next year. Now, another advantage, and one of the biggest advantages in my opinion, is one of the benefits of the water parks at Disney as opposed to Universal Studios Volcano Bay is you can video on attractions. You can video your day at Disney World. You see, there's a lot of challenges in terms of videoing at Universal's Volcano Bay. There's not a lot of accessibility in terms of you can't bring your GoPro really at all. I bring a waterproof case for my phone and sometimes try to vlog from there on my phone when I go to Universal's Volcano Bay, but it's extremely challenging to try to manage that data, export that data, edit it, versus if I can just bring that GoPro to Disney's water parks, it makes life so much easier for me, which is kind of an upside or an advantage why I might want to go to a Disney water park when compared to Universal's Volcano Bay, to make it easier to share those adventures with you. That being said, on the other side of the coin, I feel like some of my favorite attractions, if I'm looking for really a thrilling, fun-filled water park day, I really do love some of the attractions at Volcano Bay. If I had to pick just one water park between Typhoon Lagoon, Blizzard Beach, and Volcano Bay, I'll tell you, for me, it would be Volcano Bay. I feel like Volcano Bay does an amazing job with a good balance between some thrilling attractions and some more mild water attractions. I don't feel like there's anything crazy mild where, for example, the lazy river is even a little bit faster at Universal when comparatively to Disney. So if you're looking for a water park that has a bit of a slower pace to it, you may prefer Disney, but I kind of like the thrilling water attractions over at Universal's Volcano Bay. And that's kind of where I'm starting off with this question is, do I prefer Volcano Bay if I were only picking one, to get the water parks to Volcano Bay or to get the water parks to both of Disney's water parks? Which one would make more sense for me? And the way I see it just kind of holistically is, well, for vlogging purposes, the Disney one makes more sense, but for thrill purposes, if I were just picking one for fun, it would most likely be Volcano Bay. So it's a challenging balance. I can also appreciate with Disney, there's a variety of water attractions since there's more water parks, right? So since you have both Volcano Bay, since you have both Typhoon Lagoon and Blizzard Beach, you can enjoy more water attractions, whereas Volcano Bay is just a one park. Now, I can't say for sure if I'm 100% going to get only one of the two water park passes, or if I'm even going to get either of the water park passes. Honestly, I've been considering getting rid of both for those individual separate reasons. Volcano Bay, because you can't really vlog there, makes it very challenging, and Disney, because I find the attractions more thrilling over at Volcano Bay in terms of a water park. So I'm not, again, 100% sure how that's going to play out for me, and if it makes sense for me to, for example, get that lower level without the water park, but maybe get more theme park days that I'd normally be missing out on if I did get that water park pass. So I'd get a lower pass maybe from the theme park days if I got that water park edition. And of course, there's just the question of general overall spending and budget, and for me, I'm considering maybe more traveling in the coming year. I know we don't have all the information right now in terms of if it'll be safe to go out and do a lot of traveling next year, or how soon we'll be able to go out, but I feel as if, similarly, if I don't feel like it's safe to get on a plane and travel too much, I'd have some hesitation with going to some theme parks as well. So I'm not sure if that should be factored in too much. If I'm saying to myself, myself, well, I want to do more traveling this year than I did last year, maybe a lower level theme park ticket makes sense, and that does include maybe possibly removing that water park component. Now, one of my favorite things at the water parks is some of those special events. I've enjoyed some fantastic special events at the water parks thanks to some very kind friends taking us to some of the moonlight magic we've been to, for example, at some of these water parks, and I feel like those are some of the most thrilling events, some of the most thrilling nights that I enjoy at the water parks. And it is a great time, and just the regular days at the water parks are great too. I gotta tell you, I love that family raft ride, I love the lazy river, or perhaps the wave pool with some huge waves coming down in Typhoon Lagoon. So there are a lot of attractions to really enjoy and to appreciate, but it does make me hesitate and it does make me wonder if this will make sense for me next year. The biggest factor that I compare the water parks getting it versus the cost to is the content I'm creating and sharing with you. Does it make sense for me from a content perspective to go to the Disney water parks, right? As I said, I kind of enjoy the thrill of some of the attractions at Volcano Bay a little bit more. So am I going to be vlogging a lot of water parks? And do I want to be able to vlog a lot of water parks? And that's kind of what factors into one of the biggest pieces factoring into my decisions of saying, okay, it does or does not make sense to get this water park fun and more pass for me. And the more I think about it, before I started going to Volcano Bay, I would have said yes, because I love water parks, I love water attractions, and just being on the water. Like, I like to go to the beach and maybe get on some boats and sail, all kinds of activities. Swimming's a great one for me, so there's so much I enjoy on the water. But then I went to Volcano Bay, and I want to do some more beaches in the area too. But I went to Volcano Bay, and I enjoyed those attractions so much, it makes me say to myself, well, is it really worth it for me to go to the Disney water parks if I really prefer Volcano Bay that much? So before I went to Volcano Bay, I would have said yes, easily. Disney's water parks is somewhere I want to spend time. I love water parks as a whole. But now I'm saying to myself, well, if I really love water parks, maybe I'd just prefer to spend that time at Volcano Bay. So the big factor for me at this point is whether or not I want to do a lot of vlogging there. And I'm still considering it. It depends on my channel and what I'm spending a lot of time focusing on my channel at that particular time. You know, there's a lot of factors to consider. In addition, like when the parks open back up. If it's summertime, maybe I'm going to want to go to those water parks. Whereas if it's closer to the winter time, maybe not so much. If you're considering the same question, you may want to ask yourself, what am I looking for in a water park? Let's totally take out the question of vlogging, because I know that's not necessarily relevant to most people. So let's just look at the question of what am I looking for in a water park? If you're looking for some more thrilling water attractions to really get the total intensity of water rides, I'd suggest you maybe check out Volcano Bay and see what you think before you decide you want to renew that Disney water park pass. That being said, if you go to these water parks only 2, 3, or more times per year, you can easily make up the value of that water park ticket. So if you're saying, well, I want to go to Volcano Bay one time, and you decide, yeah, I'm probably going to want to go at least 2 times just to see it all, maybe it does make sense for you to get that water park pass. And maybe that's kind of my decision as I'm talking through this with you, is maybe it does make sense for me for the Disney water park pass just in the event that I want to go maybe 2 times a year. However, if you're looking for more family-themed rides, if you're looking for something maybe a little bit more slower paced, or attractions that you can bring some kids on, you might want to consider those Disney water parks a little bit more. They do offer a lot of family-style attractions and accommodations, and I do enjoy those quite a bit as well. Another thing I haven't touched on too much in a video today, but in the past I did, is some of the delicious food at the water parks. I've been blown away by some of the amazingly delicious quick service at both Volcano Bay and at the Disney water parks. You may not necessarily expect this from a water park, but I'm telling you, those hot dogs, for example, I want to say from Avalanche in Blizzard Beach were fantastic. All kinds of great stuff. Again, you wouldn't expect such great quick service at a water park, but it's there. So honestly, I thought the answer for me was no when I first started this vlog and I first started this conversation with you, but I'm continuing to think about it, and I'm not 100% sure yet where if I do want to go to that water park 2, 3, 4 times a year, it may very well make sense. And as much as I love Volcano Bay, I also love variety, and I love to get to new parks and see new things and enjoy new attractions. So maybe it does make sense for me personally to have the ability to access both water parks year-round just because I love to see new things. I love some new variety, and I'd love to kind of be able to go back and forth, ping-pong between those different water parks and share different adventures with you as well. So those are my thoughts. Again, I'm going to have to think about it more. It is going to be, of course, a challenging year based on health conditions. We want to make sure everyone's taking care of themselves, and we want to make sure that we are able to get to the parks at a time that we can enjoy, right? So I don't know what my future will look like. There's so many open questions for me, whereas we don't know what my future will look like work-wise. We don't know when the parks will open back up or when the water parks will open back up. So many open questions that kind of lead me to need to hold off on the answer to this question. I still do kind of lean in the direction of the answer of no, because I I feel like I can then save that money and put it towards something else, like maybe traveling, sharing some new fun adventures with you in new locations, or different perspectives with you on new theme parks as a whole, maybe more SeaWorld parks or some other parks in the area. There's so much to look forward to in the future, and I'm just considering all of my possibilities as I try to decide what level of theme park pass makes sense for me moving forward. And I will also admit, I am considering downgrading the level of my typical Disney annual pass. I actually thought this would be more likely for me between the two, going between Gold and Silver Plus. I figured I'd get the water parks and Silver, and I'm still very much leaning in the direction where I'm more likely to take Silver, maybe miss that summertime in the parks, enjoy that time instead in the resorts and in the water parks, and I'll still have access to the water parks year-round. So it's kind of like a trade-off I'm debating in my head. I can't say for sure I know how I'm going to go on this. Again, depends on the content that I am sharing with you and that I want to be sharing with you. I want to continue to do new things that I enjoy. I'd love to kind of change up some of my content as a whole. Again, moving forward, doing fun and silly stuff, trying new food, traveling to new places, and sharing just general life adventures with you. There's so much to look forward to in the future, and so I want to leave those possibilities and those options open for me as I consider what I'm going to do. So I hope this video gave you some insight in terms of my thoughts and if I'll be renewing my water park pass, and for you, and if you should go for a water park annual pass in addition to your Disney pass or in addition to your Universal annual pass. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you liked this video, don't forget to fill that like button with water by turning it blue. You just click it and you'll see it'll fill up all the way with water. Thank you so much for being a part of the fun with me. If you haven't already, consider hitting that subscribe button and ringing the bell to stay informed of more adventures as well. I'm so excited for what the future might hold and what I can share with you as things open back up and as we're able to go out and explore yet again. And again, I so appreciate you being a part of all of it with me. And until next time, play on. There's one benefit to the Disneyland. Now, another advantage, one of the biggest advantages in my opinion is and that's kind of where I'm starting this question off is, does it make sense for me if I didn't get those water park, if I did get that water park pass? And I will admit, I am also considering downgrading the level of my typical.